A lot of the times when we're working with newborns, we can run into fussy babies. I know how difficult and frustrating that can be, especially when you're just getting started with your newborn photography career. In today's episode, I'm going to go over my 6 tips to soothe baby to make sure that you have a successful newborn session. Hello and welcome. If we have not met, I am Lisa from Milk and Honey Photography and the Milky Way, and I inspire, empower, and educate photographers just like you to become amazing newborn artists, to follow their dreams, and to create a business and life that they are absolutely passionate about. So in today's episode, I want to go over my 6 tips for having a successful newborn session when you're working with a fussy baby. So in the comments below, I would love if you could share with me your biggest struggle with having your newborn sessions. So my first tip is tip number 1, and that is the room temperature. What you need to make sure is that your room is warm enough, but it's also not cold enough. I'm Canadian and I have my temperature set at about 27 degrees Celsius. I give or take a couple degrees in either direction depending if baby is clothed. Now if I'm doing a lot of poses with baby, being dressed or diapered or in pants, I sometimes will turn my temperature down a little bit so it's a little bit cooler for the little one. But if baby's naked the entire time, I make sure to keep it warm enough at about 27 degrees. If you're finding that your baby's skin is getting a little mottled, which means those sort of purple little dots, or if you're finding baby's getting really red, your temperature could be too hot. When it's mottled, it would be probably too cold. And baby will definitely give you indicators if they are warm enough or too cold. You're going to find babies that are the right temperature are going to be far more sleepier than babies that are not. Tip number 2 is baby fed? Does your little one have a full belly? Now, sometimes babies can be overfed too. Now, some things that I kind of run into is there is something called cluster feeding that can happen typically around the 1 week or 2 week to 3 week mark for baby's age. And what happens, I find, is if baby is nursing, they just want to be with mom. They just want to eat. I typically will just take that as a session as it's kind of a snack and then pose and snack and pose, and it's sort of off and on breastfeeding or bottle feeding during that session just because baby's having a hungry day. I don't know about you, but sometimes I have really hungry days too. So some days I just want to eat everything. Sometimes I am not hungry at all. Babies are tiny little humans with the same feelings as you, same sort of bodily things that happen, same metabolism kind of things. So you need to make sure that you're just respecting that. If baby's just really hungry, just give them that time and that space to be eating and getting the nourishment that they need so they can fall asleep for you. So tip number 2 is making sure that baby has a full belly but not too full. So tip number 3, if you're finding that baby is just not falling asleep, baby could be overtired or overstimulated. In the past, I have recommended my clients keep their baby awake and then just try to poke and play with baby just to keep them a little bit more alert so they sleep at the session. Sometimes that actually backfires, and I do find that babies can arrive to the studio sometimes just a little bit overtired, a little bit just overstimulated, and they are just done. They're done. They're super mad and they don't want to fall asleep. So sometimes what I've been doing is I've been actually recommending to my clients that they just kind of give baby a quick feed before they leave. They top up baby at my studio, and then we just wait for baby to fall asleep there. I find it's just simpler and easier, and it's actually a lot less stressful for your clients too. Tip number 4, if mom is stressed or hovering or just kind of worried or concerned because baby is not sleeping, babies definitely can feed off that energy. Babies are super energy based. I find when I've got a crazy toddler just running around the studio or I often find babies just pick up on that energy. I know I pick up on that energy and they don't relax and they don't fall asleep. What I try to do is I always really keep myself very calm. I kind of zen out a little bit. I really try to slow my heart rate down, just make sure that I'm so calm, do a little bit of yoga breathing, and then I hold onto baby and we get baby soothed. I also really recommend just making sure that you are reassuring mom that this is a normal session, this is how it goes. Don't show her that you are sweating and stressing because baby is not sleeping, because that's only going to make her more stressed. And that's not the goal here. The goal is to have a very relaxed, lovely session, not only amazing images, but also an amazing experience for your clients. So you got to stay cool as a cucumber, and that baby hopefully will too. So tip number 5 is checking your levels of sound in your studio. Sometimes it can be too quiet, sometimes it can be too loud. A lot of the times I have used a white noise app on my phone, which has been really great just to block out the sound of extra noise, people talking, or the sound of my shutter clicking, which sometimes can startle baby too. White noise apps are available from the App Store, or you can also get one of those little baby shushers. Those I've known many photographers use. They love them. They're portable, and you can just kind of carry them around the session with you instead of having to use the phone. I know that phones can sometimes overheat, so me being really mindful that you're not placing it right beside baby. You're having it sort of in the vicinity so it's nice and loud, or you can Bluetooth it through a speaker, but also remembering that that sound of that, like a Doppler sound or a fan noise that you have as the white noise, can sometimes put your clients to sleep. So typically what I do, in addition to having my white noise machine going, I have some beautiful soft music. And don't be surprised if clients maybe just relax and fall asleep. I often find that happens in my studio. Totally fine with me. I just do my thing and pose their baby and give them some great images. And there's nothing wrong with it now. So tip number 6 is swaddling baby. I love to swaddle baby typically right when they arrive. Get baby topped up. But having a nice tight swaddle where arms are sort of just straight down instead of having party arms everywhere, because what I'd often find is when baby is naked, they'll often have that startle reflex, especially when they're lying on their back, and they'll end up shooting their arms out like this. It's like, I call them party arms, and they wake themselves up. So having baby in a nice wrapped swaddle so they're able to fall asleep and get into that deep REM, the REM cycle, where we want them to go, is what we want to do. So I hope you have loved this episode. I hope these are some tricks and tips that you can take to your next newborn session to help you have a very soothed, happy baby so you can get some really great images and work on that posing. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not already subscribed, make sure you do, because you do not want to miss a single trick, tip, or tutorial. We release these every single week. And if you have not already downloaded our posing guide, you're going to want to make sure you do that too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.